I remember the day like it was yesterday. Not because of lightning flash brilliance or a triumphant moment you'd tell on stage, but because of the quiet little shift in air when I realized I wasn't the same guy I'd been a year ago. I'm just an ordinary guy. Nothing heroic. I drove a taxi. I made mistakes. I had hopes. And this is what happened. My name is Jack Porter. I live in Cleveland, Ohio. I've been behind the wheel of a yellow cab, okay, green now, for 2 years. Kept my head down, picked up fares, dropped them off, dealt with some weird situations. Unemployed guy with 3 bags of groceries at midnight, big family screaming because their flight was late, and lived the rhythm of work, ride home, repeat. I like the independence of it. I picked my shifts, nobody hovering over my shoulder telling me to move faster, except when the dispatcher called. But I also felt stuck. A lot of nights, I'd pull into the parking lot of the taxi stand, park my car, and just sit. Engine off, head on the wheel, thinking, is this it? Is this what I'm meant for? I'd catch the taillights of other drivers heading home to houses, dinners, families, and wonder where I fit in. At the same time, I was dating Sarah. We met at a bar downtown, a small live music place, local band, cheap beer pitchers. I was driving home from a late shift, stopped by for a drink, and she was there with her roommate, laughing at something stupid. I walked up, said something like, "You know this band?" or "Just here for the free air conditioning." She cracked up. That was it. That's how it started. She worked at a marketing agency in the suburbs, 7 to 3, Monday through Friday, dress smart, career ambitions. She talked about branding and clients like she loved it. I was proud of her. I liked that she was full of energy and had plans. We'd go out, dinner, movie, meet her friends, my friends. She fit into both my worlds in a surprising way. But I always knew there was a difference. She was going places. I was ticking over. Some rides paid well, some didn't. Some nights the car racked up more miles than money. When she talked about where I see myself in 5 years, I'd smile and nod and think, good question. Over time, the difference became more obvious. She started bringing up big things. "Jack, when are you going to do something with your life?" At first, I smiled and said, "Hey, this is what I do now. I drive people around. I keep the city moving." She'd say, "Yes, I know, but don't you want more?" I'd shift in my seat. I'd say, "Maybe. I mean, sure." That shrug of mine. I knew she didn't buy it. One Friday, after midnight, I parked at our place, a little 2-bedroom rental on the east side. She was waiting. Not angry, just quiet. She said, "Jack, we need to talk." My heart sank because of the tone. I wasn't sure what she meant. I said, "Okay." She looked at me. "I love you, but I can't do this anymore." I blinked. "What do you mean?" She said, "Working full-time, picking up extra shifts, weekends. I'm tired of my weekends being taken up by your work schedule, and I don't know where we're headed. I see your car, the rides, the empty living room when you're gone. I feel like I'm the only one anchoring something." She paused. "I don't see our future, Jack." I said, "You're just saying this because I haven't done more?" She nodded. "Yes." She folded her hands. "I'm sorry." And that was it. I didn't fight. I just listened. My chest felt like one door had closed, but I didn't have the key anyway. I moved out 2 days later. She sorted through the lease with the landlord. I took my meager things, my stereo, my car, still the cab, and moved into a smaller apartment, same district but cheaper. I worked more shifts. Weekends. Nights. I thought maybe if I showed her I could change, she'd come back. But deep down I knew she wasn't coming back. The next months were rough in non-dramatic ways. I didn't spiral. I didn't become a sad cliche with sullen heavy music and boots. I got up, I drove, I stopped by the gym sometimes, I watched old baseball games. I'm a Cleveland Guardians fan. I learned how to cook more than frozen stuff. I hung out with some friends I'd neglected. I started noticing things I'd taken for granted. The smell of rain on hot asphalt, the hum of the meter ticking as I picked up a fare, the small talk with strangers. One night, I picked up a fare at the airport. Business class guy, early morning loaded bag. He asked about my ride, my life. I told him simply, "I'm a taxi driver." He nodded, said, "That's honest work." That stuck with me, because I needed honest, not grand. But that same week, I realized the voice of, "You should be more," wasn't just hers. It was mine too. I was telling myself that if you're not moving forward, you're going backwards. I didn't know what forward meant. I didn't have a plan, just a tension in my gut. Then I found something. It was maybe 9 months after she'd left. One of my regular passengers was an owner of a small convenience chain. He'd hop into my cab sometimes, early morning shift, got a coffee. We'd chat. One day he said, "Jack, you seem to have a good head on your shoulders for this. Have you ever thought about owning one of these stores? A small franchise?" I laughed. "Me? I drive a cab." He said, "Exactly. You're out in the city, you meet people. You know routes. You know timing. Those skills matter." I sat on that. Something clicked. I began doing research when I got home. Nights. Instead of ordering pizza and zoning into Netflix, I pulled up spreadsheets. What if I could buy an existing little beverage shop or partner with someone, get a loan? I asked friends. I talked to banks, yes. It took a few horrendous hours on the phone. I found a tiny location, out of the way but still busy, near university campus. Coffee, quick bites, good Wi-Fi. I signed a lease. I bought equipment. I still drove my cab during mornings. I ran the new business afternoons. Weekends, I tried to keep both alive. It wasn't glamorous. I painted walls. I fixed the sink when the pipe leaked. I was behind the counter at 10 a.m., greeting students. I spilled coffee. I lost money some days, but I kept going. 6 months in, the shop started bringing modest but real profit. Enough that I could cut back on taxi hours. Enough that the taxi felt less like survival, more like choice. One Saturday evening, 8 months after I started the cafe convenience combo, I'll call it Porter's Stop. I was closing late, wiping counters, counting cash, when my phone buzzed, a delivery alert. I hadn't ordered anything, but I'd signed up for one of those food apps for test mode just to see how it worked. The alert: your food is ready for pickup. Courier will arrive. I scratched my head. 10 minutes later, the door buzzer rang. I went to the front door, flipped the lock. Standing there with a pizza box in hand, and I froze. It was her, the one who left. My ex, Sarah Miller. I didn't know what to say because my mind blanked. I managed to, "Hey, Sarah." She said, "Jack." "Hi." Her voice was even calm. I stepped aside and let her in. I could feel the air change. My shop, half lit by the evening lamps, the hum of the fridge behind the counter, the quiet jazz track playing. She stood there with the pizza box. For a second, I thought I'd imagined the whole thing. She said, "Delivery for Jack Porter." I held the box. Then, "Thanks." She nodded. I recognized the address. Pause. "Are you okay? This is where I promise you things get more interesting." I said, "Yeah, I'm okay." I didn't say more, because I wasn't sure what okay meant. She looked around. "Nice place." I shrugged. "Thanks. I started this a month ago." "Really?" She sounded genuinely surprised. I hadn't heard. "Well, I wasn't shouting from the rooftops." She asked, "So, you're no longer driving a cab full-time?" I smiled. "Not full-time. Still have the tag. Still pick up a shift if needed." She put the box down on the counter. "I'm going to wait in my car while you sign this delivery receipt." She looked at me, held up her phone. "Okay." I nodded. I signed. She gave me a friendly nod. Then she said, "I'll leave if you want." I took a breath. Would you like to come in for a minute? Coffee? Just to catch up?" She hesitated, then said, "Sure." She sat at a table near the window. I poured coffee. We didn't have to order pizza for her. She'd eat later. The shop was quiet. Few students trickled out. I sat across from her. We started talking. Her roommate, a guy called Tom, moved to Chicago. Her agency was restructuring. She got laid off last month. She was freelancing now. She looked tired. Fine, but worn around the edges. She asked me, "So this place, how long did it take?" I said, "From idea to lease, about 4 months. Then 10 months of building, then 6 months operating. Long story short, about a year." I hadn't meant to emphasize the timeline, but it came out. She blinked. "And you stuck with it." I shrugged. I didn't really have a plan B. She laughed softly. "Classic you." And for a moment I saw exactly what she saw. Me, parked behind a wheel for years, playing safe. But now sitting in my own shop, talking coffee with her. Didn't erase the past, but it changed something. Then she said something that hit me. She said, "I'm proud of you." I choked. Not because I hadn't heard that before. I had. But because I hadn't heard it from her. "Thanks," I said. She paused. "But, Jack, I should have told you why I left more clearly." I left because I thought we were going in different directions. I believed you didn't believe in yourself. And I got scared. I just looked at her. The coffee steaming between us. I opened my mouth, closed it. She continued, seeing you now, I didn't expect you'd change. I expected you just keep driving the cab until you were 45 and wondering whether you should have done something else. I'm glad I was wrong. I felt something shift. Not regret exactly. More like clarity. I said, I changed because I got tired of asking myself if I was good enough. She nodded. Me too. We talked for maybe half an hour. She ate a slice of pizza. I poured another cup of coffee. We talked about old friends, about the city. She asked about my car. I told her I still had it, but now it sat in the garage more days than not. She asked about the taxi company. I told her I gave up the company contract and went independent. She said, wow. I said, yeah, it's a bit scary. She said, you know, Jack, maybe this is a weird moment, but do you think there's room for friendship? Or maybe something else later? I thought about it. I said, maybe. I'm not sure. Right now, I just want to keep building, keep steady. I looked at her. I don't want anyone waiting for me to succeed, just so they'll be with me. She nodded, no words. Then she stood up. Well, thanks for the coffee. And thanks for the pizza. She smiled a little. Congratulations. For real. I walked her to the door. She paused at the threshold. Take care of this place. It suits you. I said, you too, Sarah? She left. I closed the door, locked it, leaned against it. That night, I sat in the shop office because even though I was done for the evening, I liked to hang out there after hours. I looked at the empty tables, the counter lights dimmed, the pizza box gone. I pulled out my phone, texted her, enjoy the rest of your night. She replied, you too. It was polite. Nothing more. But I felt like I crossed something. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt grounded. I felt like I earned something. Not her back. Not praise. But self-respect. In the days that followed, people noticed. A few regulars said, hey, you look different. I shrugged. Trying something new, my shifts in the taxi became optional. I took them when I felt like it. I tweaked my business hours. I started hiring part-time help. I still drive from time to time because it's honest and it reminds me where I came from. As for Sarah, we didn't fall back into being what we were. We didn't pick up right where we left off. But we opened a door. We found a new conversation. And that's okay. There were spots where I almost reverted. One late evening, I was driving, the cab radio playing. I picked up a woman who spilled tears because her husband just left town. She asked, why do people give up so fast? And I thought of her leaving me. I responded, I guess because they get tired of waiting, or because they don't see the way ahead. She nodded. What do you do when you don't know the way ahead? I looked at the road. You turn the wheel and you drive. That stuck with me. I think I've been waiting for permission to do that, or for someone to say, you're behind schedule. I gave that permission to myself. So yeah, I'm telling you this because you'll wonder, was this about getting her back? No, it was about getting me back, getting me to believe I could do more. And yeah, the moment when she showed up delivering a pizza, that was the knot in the tape that made me pause and look. But what followed matters more. I still run Porter's Stop. I still drive the cab occasionally. I still wear an ordinary shirt and a name tag and wipe tables when needed. I still face the nights when I don't know whether tomorrow will be better or just the same. But I've noticed one thing. I don't dread the night like I used to. One afternoon, a guy walked in, looked around, told me, this place feels like you. I thanked him. He paused. You know, you don't look like a taxi driver anymore. I said, maybe I never was just a taxi driver. He nodded, and I thought, he's right. I wasn't just that. I was just myself. If you ask me what the biggest lesson is, I'd say, you don't need to impress someone else to move forward. You need to believe in your own next step. Doesn't matter how small it is. Even driving a cab counts. Even painting walls counts. Even pouring coffee counts. Because it builds something. And when you build something, you can show up, pizza box in hand or behind the counter, and surprise both yourself and someone else. I don't know what happens next. Sarah and I might drift away or maybe become part of each other's story in a different way. Doesn't matter. This is my story. An ordinary guy, a cab driver, a cafe owner, a guy delivering pizza to himself in a way, and living. So if you ever feel stuck doing just enough, waiting for the big break, don't. Start somewhere. Even if the pizza box shows up unexpectedly at your door, you'll be ready. Thanks for listening.